we've been working towards the highlight of the day, the Government of Quebec's Thought Leadership Panel on positioning for the global transition of battery metals, how Quebec is preparing to be a global hub for powering the future. And many guests here reference it. The Quebec's position in the Fraser Institute of Mining's global rankings, consistently one of the best jurisdictions in the world. So we're going to get a little bit of insight on how that is done and how that's going to be maintained as well, I hope. We're going to welcome back Henry Lazenby. Did a wonderful job interviewing Maureen Jensen. Henry, as I introduced then, is our reporter for the Northern Miner. He's an international journalist, over 10 years of experience, originally based in South Africa, then came to Canada. We managed to get him from the Mining Journal. He was writing for our mining.com outlet in the Northern Miner. Going forward, he's going to be focused squarely on the Northern Miner. So welcome back, Henry, and I look forward to this panel discussion. Over to you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Anthony. It's a pleasure to be back. All right, it gives me great pleasure to present to you our GMS Thought Leadership Panel featuring representatives from the Quebec government. Joining us is Nathalie Camden, Associate Deputy Minister in Quebec's Department of Energy and Natural Resources. She is flanked by geologist Tony Brisson, the President and CEO of SOQUEM Inc., and Amyot Choquette, Senior Director for Investments at Ressources, Quebec. Please forgive me for not going into each panelist's detailed bio, but I do recommend our audience read their detailed bios in the GMS agenda. With that, I bid our panelists a warm welcome. I look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Thank you.
All right. So we've decided this panel will start by each panelist giving us a brief slide presentation. I guess let's start with the Associate Deputy Minister. If you'd like to share your screen, we can see your slides and you can take it away.
Yeah, thank you,
right.
Henry. Thank you, Henry, for your introduction. Can you see me? Yes. Okay. And thank you to the committee for giving us this opportunity to outline what we do as a government to favor the development of Quebec's mineral potential. My colleague Amyot and Tony, with whom I work very closely, will present you the best tools that we have developed to support that development. I have a few slides for you. So now I will present you a brief overview of who we are. So Quebec is the 6th most attractive mineral jurisdiction in the world. We have, in fact, 22 mines in operation, 3 in care and maintenance, and 33 mining projects. And major world players are already involved in Quebec, such as Rio Tinto, Glencore, ArcelorMittal, Newmont, Agnico Eagle, and more recently, BHP Billiton. We in Quebec offer a business environment that is stable and favorable to investments. We have different tax benefits and very different financial incentives tailored to mining, exploration, production, and manufacturing companies. And Amyot will present this later. In Quebec, what we want to assist companies at all stages in the development of their mining project in order to reduce delays and also share the risk. For instance, in the area of exploration, we have put in place a specific program to support companies that conduct mining exploration activities related to critical minerals. As you probably know, we have clean energy in Quebec. Hydro-Quebec produces more than 99% of its electricity from water, a clean and a renewable source of low-cost energy. And we can supply electricity at special rates for the industrial sector, which is quite an asset. We also have a vast network of infrastructures, roads, railways, ports, and airports that offer quick access to the United States and Europe. Social acceptability and responsible development are paramount in Quebec. Our government has developed different approaches and tools aimed at promoting the establishment of relations with host communities, being local governments as well as indigenous people, and we want to favor the acceptance of projects. We are fortunate enough to be able to count on a large indigenous population with whom, in some cases, we have established and signed modern treaties, and we have with them some sustainable partnerships, which gives predictability to proponents. In fact, to ensure the development of our mineral potential, we have launched a critical minerals action plan, the first in Canada, that was back in 2020. The plan sets clear priorities and it covers all aspects from exploration to recycling. So far, it has sparked great interest internationally at all levels, being commercial with promoters and investors or with different government officials. We have, perhaps you're not aware, but we have the largest lithium reserves in Canada, and nearly half of the lithium projects in the country are in Quebec. And we also have a rare earth deposits. We're one of the few jurisdictions in the world that has all the minerals required for batteries, namely lithium, nickel, cobalt, graphite, and manganese. And in addition, we have also many aluminum smelters. So we have the potential to develop 38 of the 50 critical minerals that appear on the new 2022 American list, which was released, I believe, last February. The presence today of my colleagues involved in the various stages of the mineral development and the critical mineral value chain clearly shows that we as a government want to support better the miners and proponents. We have a stable business environment, and being small, believe me, it gives some advantage. We are able to work closely and rapidly with promoters and other stakeholders. We certainly have a good ESG report as being reliable, sustainable, and an ethical partner. This leads me to one conclusion. We have a plan, we have the resources needed, we have the political will, and all the tools to position ourselves as a leader in the development of critical minerals by helping companies and governments to realize their projects or to meet their concerns in terms, of course, of securing their supply, as the previous speaker talked about. So we are clearly open for business in Quebec. So thank you for your attention, and I look forward for your questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Associate Minister. Let's throw it over to, I don't know who wants to go next. Amyot?
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome to share your screen.
Yes.
There we go.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. Thank you to Northern Miner for giving me the opportunity to present today. My name is Amyot Choquette. I'm Senior Director Investment at Ressources Québec. Ressources Québec is a division of Investissement Québec that invests in mining, forestry, and energy sectors. Before I tell you how we can support the mining industry, let me present you briefly Investissement Québec. Investissement Québec is a state-owned corporation owned by the government of Quebec. And our mission is to actively participate in the Quebec's economic development, stimulate innovation and growth of local and international investment, and support business creation and development. To fulfill our mandate, we have close to 1,000 employees located in 30 offices in Quebec and 12 offices abroad. Through our division IQ International, we are a one-stop shop for foreign investment in Quebec by providing strategic information, comparative analysis and sector advantages, networking with local and international businesses and decision makers, site selection services, and as well services to support recruitment. As well, we act as the financial arm of the government of Quebec. We can provide a number of financial contributions to businesses in Quebec through venture capital, development capital, loans, loan guarantees, investment funds, tax credit, equity investments. We play a key role in the economic development of Quebec by stimulating the growth of businesses, productivity, and diversification of markets. Investissement Québec manages a portfolio of about $12 billion in investment across all sectors of Quebec's economy. As Mrs. Camden presented, you can see that I guess in the plan for the development of critical and strategic minerals, there's a number of projects. There are projects in abundance in Quebec, and you see on this map the projects that some of the projects that are active in Quebec. And for us to support these projects and this plan, and as well other mining projects in gold or other metals, we can contribute financially at every stage of a project on exploration, development, construction, and operations with a capital pool of about $1.6 billion. Our scope of intervention on the exploration side is through our subsidiary SOQUEM, for which Tony will present right after me. But for projects in development and construction, the Natural Resources and Energy Fund has $1 billion of capital available to be invested in equity in projects of value of over $5 million. And in these types of projects, we can invest from $1 million up to $100 million plus. For projects in construction and operations, Ressources Québec can provide debt financings and other financial instruments from $10 million up to $150 million. So it gives you an idea that we can support sizably mining projects in Quebec. Our investment criteria, of course, are solid management team, economic benefits for the province of Quebec, social acceptability, partnership. We never invest alone, and of course, profitability of the project being financed. So over the last 3 years, we've contributed financially on an average of about $200 million for mining projects in Quebec. Specifically, over the years, we have supported projects in gold, iron ore, base metals, and strategic and critical minerals. This slide shows the projects or the companies that we have supported in the strategic and critical minerals. So this concludes my initial presentation. Don't hesitate to, happy to answer your questions, Henry, in the Q&A session. But for the audience, don't hesitate to contact me for further questions. And I'll pass it on to Tony for his presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, indeed. Tony, you're up.
Thank you, Amyot and Henry. So we'll share my screen right now.
I think if Amyot can,
yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so I guess you can see my full screen now.
Not yet, no.
What we can do is if you just have your file open that you want to share, then at the bottom of the screen, you click share screen, click on the file that you want to share, and then click share again.
Oh, I see. Well, let me stop this. Share.
There you go.
There we go. Yes.
There we go.
Perfect.
Excellent. All right, take it away.
Sorry for the delay. So, good day, everyone. So, as Amyot told before, so I'm president and CEO of SOQUEM. It's a pleasure for me to take a moment to talk about SOQUEM and our role in Quebec's mining ecosystem, as well as our participation in the Quebec plan for the development of critical and strategic minerals. So SOQUEM's mission is to explore, discover, and develop the mineral resources of Quebec. Our vision is to develop high-quality exploration portfolio to make a major discovery within the next 5 years. Quick explanation about what SOQUEM is. First of all, SOQUEM is an acronym, a French acronym for Société Québécoise d'Exploration Minière. We were created in 1965 by the Quebec government to support mining and exploration. For decades, SOQUEM has been a catalyst for exploration and development of mining projects. As Amyot mentioned before, we are a subsidiary of Investissement Québec, and as is, we are fully funded by Investissement Québec, which is the economic development arm of the Quebec government. Considering this financial structure, SOQUEM is definitely less sensitive to market and metal prices fluctuation than the average junior mining company, which create a sustainable exploration process. SOQUEM activities cover all aspects of exploration, from project generation, grassroots drilling, resource estimate to pre-economic assessment. Our head office is located in Val-d'Or, right in the heart of Abitibi, and we also have a field office in Chibougamau. We actually have 22 employees, 12 of them are geologists. So if you look at the simplified mining cycle, SOQUEM activity covers essentially the portion of exploration, which is usually anything between 5 to 15 years of duration, from project generation to PEA. The construction mining phases can be certainly supported by our main shareholder, Investissement Québec. A little bit of history. Since the beginning, 7 SOQUEM discoveries eventually became mines. 3 of them are still in operation in Quebec, which is the Renard Diamond Mines, Célène Salt Mine, and Neobec Niobium Mine. We also have 2 of our advanced project, part of the 33 at the development stage. And these projects are P.Geo, which is a rare earth project, a very promising one, and Mont Blanc lithium project in partnership with Sayona Mining. A quick overview of our portfolio. So you see on the left side of the screen the map of the location, and the legend indicate the base metal deposit, the CSM, and the gold project as well. So we have approximately 10% of our project which are at the advanced stage, and half of them are from essentially base metal and CSM, and the other half is from precious metal. Many projects are at the drilling stage, half of it actually, mostly located in Abitibi, James Bay, and one in Nunavik. Copper, zinc, precious, and base metal for the essential. And finally, 1/3 of our projects are at the grassroots stage and was generated by SOQUEM for the last few years. So for this reason, we have more CSM properties developed in the last few years because of our involvement in the Quebec plan for critical and strategic minerals. Essentially, nickel, cobalt, vanadium project were generated in the Grenville geological subprovince. For the balance, it's essentially base metals, so copper, zinc, and few of them are still a gold project. Speaking about partnerships, so you see at the left side of the screen a few of our active partners. It's part of the DNA of SOQUEM to be in partnership with other companies to share expenses, risk, expertise, and developing win-win scenario. Usually we use two-way partnerships. So SOQUEM may acquire an interest in a project owned by a company or individual, or we may sell an interest in one of our projects into a company or individual. Most often, SOQUEM people participate in the development works and exploration works as well. So to summarize, we are well positioned in the mining ecosystem, and we often act as a springboard and a generator of projects in multiple commodities for decades. We can buy, sell, or participate in joint ventures. About this, we have a lot of interesting projects available for sale or for GVs. So please do not hesitate to reach us if you want to invest in the next Quebec major discovery. And we will be present at the PDAC as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to our panelists for giving that brief introduction to what you each do. Let's get to the discussion portion of this presentation, and let me ask with our Associate Deputy Minister, Camden, to please share with the audience just how exactly Quebec is positioning to take advantage of this global transition to battery metals. I'm thinking perhaps, it's an opportunity for you to unpack a little bit more what the action plan on critical and strategic minerals really mean in the context of the electrification of everything in the world. Over to you, Minister.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. In fact, as we know, we are going to a sober economy in terms of decarbonation. So for us, it's an opportunity because we have the minerals required to go ahead with these renewable energies, and with hydroelectricity, it's a real asset for Quebec. And one other thing that we've done, I talked before about the impact and what was in our action plan regarding the development of critical and strategic minerals. But I should mention also that we do have complementary industrial policies and other governmental policies that are totally complementary and align with our objectives to develop the minerals. And these policies are the greenest economy, which we call the Plan pour une économie verte, and also and mainly the strategy on battery. And that one was launched at the same time as the critical mineral plan, and they go along together because we can feed the battery manufacturers with our minerals. But in our plan, and I mentioned it before, we wanted to cover all the aspects coming from exploration until recycling, and of course going through manufacturing. And so far we've had great results. And perhaps for those who haven't noticed, but last March we got big announcement made in Quebec. We heard that GM and its counterpart from South Korea, POSCO, they made an announcement to produce cathodes in Bécancour, which is a city located between Montreal and Quebec. And at the same moment, we had the German company, the huge one, BASF, making the same announcement with putting in place a facility to produce cathodes again. So we see the results, and of course they will bear on the minerals produced in Quebec to supply them. So we see the need from different industries as well as different governments to be less reliant on certain countries and to diversify and secure their supply. So that's what we've been doing. And in our plans regarding critical minerals, we saw that it was very important to increase the knowledge at all levels. So even for the geoscientific work that we do conduct within the department, we thought it was important to know more about critical minerals. So we put aside money and we hired people. We dedicated a team which they work only on critical minerals. So it's something new that will help exploration companies to make their investment in Quebec. And it's the same thing for recycling, because we know that the demand is so exponential that it won't be sufficient from virgin sources. So the key element is also circular economy as well as recycling, since we know that at the worldwide scale, there's only 9%, I believe, from all the resource extracted that are being reused. So the potential is there, and we need to support that. And to do so, what we do is we put aside money to invest into R&D and innovation. That's the other key.
And one of the key takeaways that I'm getting from what you're saying is that when you partner with the Quebec government, you get like a holistic kind of focus from the government side to see projects through from mine to metal to the cradle to grave kind of concept. And the other takeaway is that there's a significant focus by the Quebec government on setting up the midstream section of this green revolution, and to capture that value, the add value, from the critical minerals in the ground to the market. I don't know if you've got any further comments on that.
Yeah, you're right. And this is something that wasn't really in our mind back a few years or decades ago. Now it's really an objective that we're aiming at to better be integrated and have the whole value chain, not for all the minerals and critical minerals, but we have to find the place, the room where we fit the most, and with all the assets that we can have and we can promote. So this is what we did, is we did produce a study to see what were those value chains for the different minerals, and see where we could fit in with, of course, other partners from other countries and from the other industrial sectors.
All right, thank you very much for that. Let's turn to Amyot with Ressources Quebec. Could you please give us a little bit more of your view on how the province is positioning to benefit from the energy transition? I'm thinking more in terms of how Quebec is maintaining its position as one of the most innovative mining industries in Canada.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's a number of factors why I think Quebec is well positioned. First, geographically, first we have the minerals, I guess, to support the electrification of transport but we're geographically well located. We're close to the Otto Valley and Detroit, Michigan, and in Ontario, and down to south to North Carolina. But as well with the St. Lawrence Seaway and all the railways, we're well, I guess St. Lawrence Seaway well positioned to supply Europe as well. And of course, as mentioned earlier in Mrs. Camden's presentation, and in mine, we have all the raw materials to supply the battery value chain. Of course, low cost and clean energy. That's an advantage that we have. I think over in the coming years, automakers will be looking to have the cleanest vehicles on the road. So by Quebec supplying CAM materials to these automakers, which are produced with green power, will be an advantage. Of course, we have skilled laborers. We're part of free trade agreements with US, of course, US, Mexico, Europe, and Asia, Trans-Pacific. We, of course, us being here shows that the government has strong support for the industry, and we walk the talk. We're willing to invest in projects that we think are beneficial to the economy and to the battery materials value chain. Of course, if we broaden our view, we have a lot of universities and research centers in Quebec that are in the mining industry, as well in the, I guess, battery value chain with chemical engineers and other functions like this. As Nathalie mentioned, we are the 6th jurisdiction in the world, according to Fraser Institute. That's because we have clear and I guess legal and environmental framework. We have agreements with First Nations, example, the Great Alliance with the Crees. So easy access to market. So I guess that's a number of reasons why we think Quebec will strive and will not strive, but will be competitive in this market. And yeah, that's my personal view of this. But I guess BASF and GM POSCO agreed to that by deciding to invest in Quebec. Yes, and hopefully absolutely. that's the first few firsts that are coming, but hopefully in the coming months we'll be able to announce further investments in the battery materials value chain.
Well, something that jumped out at me during your presentation was you saying that you've got about 1 billion in available funds for various projects and companies positioned along the value chain. How difficult is it for perhaps a junior explorer to access this kind of funding supports? How tightly do you keep the purse strings?
Well, like I mentioned, I gave you my I guess our investment criteria, but of course we need economic benefits in Quebec. We need strong management team. We need social acceptability. So we have our investment criteria, but of course, as long as a company or project has a pre-economic assessment, the PEA, we're willing to support these projects through equity investments at the early stages, to support them with their pre-feasibility study, feasibility studies. And when it's time for construction, then there's other financial instruments that are available. As I mentioned, SOQUEM at the exploration side is partnering with these types of companies. But yeah, it's not always easy to raise money in the markets. But I guess this past couple of years with the price of metals and battery materials rising, is a little bit easier. But even in downturns, we're there to support these projects. Of course, we're not there to take control of these companies. We want to, as I mentioned in my presentation, we want to be we remain minority partners, but we need the partnerships to support them. But we're there to Quebec is like I said, if they meet the investment criteria as we have, we're there to support them.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. Okay, and over to Tony. As we've heard from your presentation, SOQUEM is all about exploring for these critical minerals the future economy will depend upon. For one, I know that Quebec makes available, free of charge, enormous amounts of geographical and mapping data to anyone who's interested, including a host of project generators and junior explorers. Do you feel like enough people are using this data, and processing it into making those elusive new discoveries that we so direly need more of?
That's an interesting question, Henry. Let's say, considering the obvious advantage to have access of this huge amount of geoscientific surveys and other historical works completed by other companies, most people working actively in Quebec are aware of it and use it to facilitate project gen, targeting, etc., saving at time huge amount of money as well, and avoiding rework. That's the biggest point. Let's take an example. Let's develop an example of a new company who want to invest in Quebec province for exploration by generating new CSM projects. With access to public data for the first phases of the work, from government surveys to historical data such as prospecting, mapping, sampling, drilling, geophysics completed by previous company. This company can begin the generation process by, let's say, using computer-assisted data treatment, artificial intelligence, or any kind of other manual method to locate the best prospective area for a specific commodity without any field visit, except for validation when required, and then complete map designation on the internet and begin the targeting process prior to invest money for field work, which is a big saving for company. And at the end, all these public data represent an opportunity to begin targeting very early in the process, and by this way, saving costs for future works and increase efficiency, definitely.
Excellent. Okay. And so then perhaps on a granular level, how does SOQUEM, support mineral explorers? Let's talk about, tax incentives available to them and other kind of, supports that, aren't perhaps necessarily available in other provinces.
Let's say on SOQUEM's side, we certainly help other companies that want to invest in Quebec by partnering, developing partnership with them. Essentially, from generation to advanced project, we are developing partnership with many companies, and it's definitely helpful for the outsiders, let's say, to invest in Quebec and having a better understanding of the tax incentive and everything's available in Quebec, essentially. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then I've got a general question. I'll throw it open to whoever wants to take it, but let's get an update on Quebec's Plan Nord, this very ambitious plan to open up the remote northern parts of Quebec. What's the latest status on the latest iteration of this plan, and how does it indeed help to foster mining and exploration investment and development?
So I'll dive in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the Plan Nord is still on, and there's an action plan from 2020 to 2023, and we're working in a complementary way. And they are focusing a lot on helping communities to welcome mining projects. So, when we get a new mine coming into operation, we have people coming in, families. It means that we need infrastructures to welcome those people and make sure that we have enough schools, that we have enough, all the suppliers surrounding the mining site. So, and the Plan Nord has a real nice way to work with local communities to make sure that these social impacts are well addressed. And besides, what they're doing too is they make sure that we can optimize and maximize the spin-off of the having a new mine in operation, to make sure that we have the maximum spin-off at the local level and at the regional level. So in that sense, it's very helpful. And also they do have a big concern, and it's one of their mandates, to see how we can develop the infrastructures needed to welcome new people in one region, in the northern region. So in that sense, they have to have an integrated way of doing to make sure that what we do for the mining industry will be helpful for the local communities, and the other way around too. So, and I have an example in mind. It's they've been working hard on making sure that the telecommunication needed with internet and all that kind of infrastructures is being implemented, and it's all being done right now at all level in the whole country, in the whole province. So that's very interesting. And I remember that they had to do some talks with the federal government, with whom we're working to make sure that all the financing needed was given to those infrastructures.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for that. And then perhaps along the same vein, you know, for companies interested in doing business in Quebec, how would you characterize the state of reconciliation at the moment? And what's it like to engage with the local First Nations in Quebec when it comes to a new mining project or something? You know, are they receptive to development in general? You know, obviously there are different contexts at play, but how would you characterize working with First Nations in Quebec?
Yeah, well, we're quite lucky. Like I mentioned before, we have 56 indigenous communities in Quebec, and with the Cree Nation, the Inuit Nation, and also the Naskapi, we have modern treaties which were signed back in 1975, and these treaties cover around 1 million square kilometer, or about 247 miles square. So it's 1,000 miles square. So it's a huge territory. But on this territory, because of the modern treaties, we do have rules that are clear and that gives a very great predictability to the promoters and the mining who are already in operation, who are the ones who want to operate in that sector. And we're quite lucky because Tony will probably add to that, but in that area, we still have a lot of work and exploration to do. And the potential is great. And we have in that area, it's in the northern part, we do have nickel mines in operation, we have gold mines, we have potential for lithium. Amyot has a project there too. And Tony is there also with some lithium exploration work. So it's a great, great area for different opportunities. And in the southern part, where we don't have modern treaties, we do promote a real, an early dialogue, a great dialogue between promoters and the local indigenous communities to be able to know what's coming with their projects. So we promote that dialogue at the earliest stage possible, in the sense that they can see what's coming and also what would be the opportunities for the communities in terms of training, in terms of job, in terms of creating enterprises and companies, and see different partnerships. So that's how we see it. It's very important. And of course, as a government, we do bear the obligation, the duty to consult the indigenous communities when it's needed, when we do give or some permits or authorizations. So it's a win-win situation. I think it's something that we need to take into account. They have concerns, there are some opportunities for everyone, and the pie is growing. So we have to bear on and build on that. We have to build on that, certainly.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe I can add just the key element for exploration is upstream communication right at the beginning, and transparency. That's the absolute key for success in Quebec, in the south and in the north. It's all the same thing. Essentially, you have to consider speaking with people right before or as soon as possible in the process.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a key theme we're seeing across the world, really. So yeah, very important in Quebec as well. We've got a question from the audience. Anonymous is asking, what about environmental impacts when it comes to mine development and exploration? What are areas you are most concerned about, such as, water or tailings, or what element? Anybody can take it.
We can start by exploration. Right at the beginning, I can tell you that for exploration, we have a series of permitting the requirement that needs to be granted prior to do any kind of major work, okay? And that's the reason why, for example, in Quebec province, we developed a new UL certification called Eco Logo 2723 for just to give a framework for ESG and environmental, social, and good governance for granting access to land and taking care about every aspect of the people, environment. And maybe after the next phase would be to develop a mind, but I would leave the lead to Nathalie at this point. Maybe it's not my field of expertise.
Yeah, sure. Like Tony said, well, just to mention for the certification process, we have the same thing, the same kind of certification process for mines in operation too. It's called the Towards Sustainable Management, and all the members of the Association Minière du Québec, which is 21 mines out of 22, they have all adhered to that process, so that certification. So it's something, it shows how proactive the industry is. And I would say that, of course, we do have a framework, a legal framework that is very robust. And in terms of environment, we do have an independent environmental review board. In the north, they are covered by the modern treaties with indigenous people, and in the south, it's the provincial one. But that independency is very important. And again, I will go with what Tony mentioned, transparency and communications. When we do have a promoter which submit its environmental study to the government, all the information is public. And even the question that can be asked by the government to the proponents, these questions and answers, they're all public. So it helps for the trust of the population towards the whole process of giving and issuing the permits. So that's one thing. And it's normal too that people are concerned with the quality of waters and tailings also. But in terms of tailings, we did inherited in the past some mining sites, abandoned sites. And in Quebec, the government for the orphan sites, we're all in charge of it. We have all the money and the resources to restore them. But these situations won't happen again since we modified our law. And now if a proponent wants to have its mining lease, it has before to submit to the government a plan for the restoration of the rehabilitation of the whole site. And we have to approve that plan. And when the plan is approved, we can give the mining lease. And then the proponent has 2 years to send us a full financial guarantee that covers the restoration plan. So because of that, now we know that in the future, we will not get new mining site that needs to be restored and paid by the population. Now it's part of the company's planning to include in their cost the cost of restoration.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so there's a better way of doing business in Quebec. That's the bottom line here. Thank you very much to our panelists.
Listen, Henry, just one quick follow-up for each of our panelists. Been a fantastic conversation here and really kind of laid out, I think, an example for the rest of the world and be able to lift up the hood and see why Quebec is having so much success on the mineral front. For Nathalie, on the federal government's critical minerals initiative in the last budget, how much I'm hoping they consulted with the Quebec provincial government on the success you're having there. Did the Quebec government have a lot of input into that strategy?
Well, we have to say that we do share the same orientations and policies, and the priorities are about the same. And from a mining project perspective, then it's easy to have talks, and Amyot could witness about that, because when we have a project, a proponent, we all sit together to see how we can better support that person, that company, to invest in Quebec or in Canada. So that's, we work together closely to make sure that all the gaps and needs are fulfilled either by our interventions, actions in Quebec, or by the federal, but we're not against each other, not at all.
Great.
We're all aligned.
That's great. That's really good to hear. And for Tony, when we take that down, so did you notice at SOQUEM's level, that exploration level, after the 3 billion was announced, was there an immediate impact? Did you see any more interest in staking ground or exploration for critical metals, or is that yet to kind of play out?
It's hard to tell on our perspective for now, but probably it's gonna have an impact eventually, but immediately I would say it's mitigated.
Yeah, still early days.
Yeah.
And then for Amyot, that 1.6 billion that you sit on with Investment Quebec, is there now a mandate to allocate more towards battery metal projects? And if so, what gets less? Where does it move? Does it move away from precious metals, or is that not part of the mandate?
No. I guess today we have a 1.6 billion capital available, but this government, the actual government, and even previous government are totally supportive of the mining industry. And to be honest, when we'll run out of capital, I don't see any problem refunding that fund and to continue to support projects. So today, yeah, we do want to support the critical and strategic minerals, but there's still the same money available for gold projects, iron ore projects,
right,
and other projects and other minerals. So there's no problem there.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on creating one of the world's greatest mining and mineral jurisdictions. The world is taking notice, that's for sure. So fantastic job. And great job on the panel. Thank you so much, everyone.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
for having us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.